Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. Whatever makes you happy. Yo, Twitch just yelled at me hard. Jeez. Twitch is running. Okay. Alright. We are still with the famous Dr. Lee. And we will be for a few more videos. I'm looking. Yeah, there's no use looking. We will be for a few more videos. So let's just get to it.
Close to this photograph, one can detect that this is an evidence card indicating item number 12, and it shows 3 blood drops in that area. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so this photograph, then, I guess you're saying, is your effort to locate exactly where that was on the floor as you saw it on June 25th.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Upon checking the area, I was able to identify the 3 locations. The 3 locations apparently being swapped and created a swipe pattern. I was able to recognize that. Compared with the photograph, I was able to identify the location.
Did you locate any other reddish stains that were consistent with blood stains in that area?
Yes, sir.
Are those depicted on the remaining photographs?
Yes.
Could you please describe that?
Subsequently, I noticed there are 3 additional stands. This, stand 1, stand number 2, stand number 3. This is a close-up view. The last column, top picture, shows this close-up view of this particular stand.
So altogether, if one counts the 3 stains identified by LAPD as item number 12, and the stains that you found, how many blood stains were in this area altogether?
6.
Were there any differences that you could detect between in terms of size with respect to these stains?
There are 3 which are already swapped. 1, I was able positively to determine the size because the periphery cross still remain. 2 other, as you can see depicted in this photo, being swapped around. The diameter of this swapped around area is approximately ½ inch. The original blood drop size is going to be much smaller than what they've been swapped. Because when you drop a drop-off stand, if you try to swipe it, you're going to create bigger area. The 3 I examined, I was use a scale, was able to determine 2 smaller one is 1/15 in diameter. Another one is 1 of the 10 inches, 1 of the 10 inches, 10th of an inch, and 15th of an inch. So it's a relative small blood stain.
Now, are some of these blood stains consistent with vertical droplets?
They're all consistent with droplet. It's not a regular blood drop. It's a droplet. It's smaller drops.
And so some are bigger, some are smaller?
Yes.
Would the smaller stains, would any of these be consistent with what is known as a cast-off pattern?
Yes.
And so if one had a superficial cut on the side of a finger and shook it in the fashion that I'm doing, let the record reflect that I'm shaking my hand down. Does that create cast-off pattern?
Yes.
And would that be consistent with what you found here?
Yes.
Could the pattern that you found here be consistent with a superficial cut on the side of the finger?
It's consistent with a small volume, I believe.
Is the pattern that you see here consistent with a major cut?
No.
All right. Yeah, we're finished with this work. All right. Dr. Lee, before I move on to the next series of boards, I'd like to ask you briefly some questions about the Bronco. Did you have an opportunity to personally examine and look at the Bronco?
No.
Could you do a reconstruction of the Bronco?
I cannot do a reconstruction because I did not have a direct examination, observation of an original condition.
Did you have an opportunity to look at some pictures of the blood in the Bronco?
Yes, I did. I looked at some of the photographs sent to me.
What is the pattern of the bloodstains you saw in those photographs?
It's fake. It's fake.
Right. Could you, from looking at those pictures, characterize what kind of bloodstain you saw?
Still vague or really broad in your foundation.
Found it, date, time, which photos, which part, date, time, which photos, which part of the bronco.
Which photos did you look at?
How do I know?
Well,
I don't know.
Did you look at photos of the door, the driver's door of the photo,
Overall.
of the Bronco?
Yes, I look at some photo appears to be depict a door.
All right. Did you look at photos of the console?
Yes, I did look at picture depict portion of the console.
Dr. Lee, what is a smear?
A smear is a contact with a movement.
Were the pattern of bloodstains that you saw depicted in the photographs on the door and the console, were they smears?
Appear to be consistent with smear.
To the extent you could tell from the photographs, what kinds of smears are they in terms of the saturation?
I only
Your Honor, no
Sustained.
foundation.
From the photographs, could you make a judgment as to whether these were heavily
Merry
saturated
Christmas, Martha. Thank you
smears
so
or light
much.
smears?
Still vague.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
consistent with light smear.
Now, take, for example, the console. What kind of surface is that?
I don't know.
Well, what is a non-absorbent surface?
Your Honor,
Sustained.
What is a non-absorbent surface?
In this context, it is.
Is a plastic, could you describe, in terms of absorbencies, can you characterize categories of surfaces?
Yes.
Where are they?
Well, you can put in two general categories. Some are absorbent, some non-absorbent. Of course, there are some in between. A surface like plastic generally refer non-absorbent surface. A surface with a tissue, cotton, those clothes is referred as a absorbent surface.
I'd ask you to assume that the console that you saw in that photograph is a plastic surface, non-absorbent surface. Based on the photographs, can you make an estimate as to the volume of blood that it would take to create the smears, the light smears you saw on that surface?
no foundation, speculation.
I think it's vague because they're separate smears appear to be on the console.
Well, you saw a series of smears on the console?
Your Honor, also no foundation as to which photos.
Sustained.
Have you seen photographs of the console with, let them,
Proceed.
Amy, thank you so
evidence
much.
tags on them
I
provided to
appreciate
you
it.
from the
Thank you.
LAPD?
Thank you.
Appear to be some photographs provided to me by the defense counsel.
Now, from those photographs, what can you tell precisely what the volume of blood is on those surfaces?
Still vague, no foundation.
Sustained.
With these photographs of the console,
Yes.
series of smears on the console.
Yes.
From those photographs, can you tell us precisely how much blood there was on that console?
Vague, no foundation, speculation.
Sustained. Foundation, counsel.
From the photographs you saw
Counsel, as
of,
soon as you say, we're not getting past the photographs. What photograph?
did you see photographs with evidence markers labeled 30, 31?
Leading.
Overruled.
I think I saw a photograph in that nature.
Did you,
Destroyed speculation.
Overruled.
did you see additional photographs taken on August 26th that had numbers 303, 304, 305?
Counsel, these photographs are in evidence on boards. Why don't we just show them to Dr. Lee and say, these are the photographs you saw. Based upon what you saw there as to this area, can you tell us how much blood is there? Otherwise, the jury has no idea what we're talking about.
Trying to be expeditious, Your Honor. I think we all have seen these photographs.
Well, maybe Mr. Blazer can find it for you.
Something else, Your Honor. I thought this was self-evident, but my desire to be expeditious.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Everybody's picking on Shaq. Stop picking on Shaq. Just do what he says.
marked as Defense 1357, entitled Bloodstains on Evidence Bag.
So marked.
Well, better yet, before we do that, Your Honor.
That was a huge
with
spoiler
permission,
alert,
I'd like
check.
to display 1167 and 1087. 1087 is a photograph of the console with tags 30 and 31. And 1167 is the August 26th photographs of the stains on the console. Dr. Lee, I show you first 1087. Is that the photograph we were referring to before with the evidence tags 30 and 31 taken on June 14th?
Yes.
I'm gonna go to work.
I'd like to show you the next photograph, which is 1167. Is that the console picture from the August 26th search with the numbers 303, 304, 305, and 306 on it? The ones we were talking about before.
Yes.
All right. Now, Dr. Lee, with respect to these photographs, going back to the question I was asking you before, I'm asking you to assume you did not actually inspect the physical, the console itself.
No, I
Couldn't
did
get-
not.
Couldn't get to see the Bronco itself.
No.
Wait a minute, I object to couldn't get.
Did not see the Bronco itself.
Strike that.
He's rephrased the question. Proceed.
Did not see the Bronco itself.
No, I did not.
All right. So you can only base this on the pictures
Yes.
and the assumption that this is a non-absorbent plastic surface that I'm asking you to make.
Also assuming the color is a true representation of
Okay.
the original color
In the photographs.
photograph.
Given those limitations, based on what you see, can you tell precisely how much blood is on the console?
No foundation calls for an opinion, speculation.
Or,
May we approach?
no.
I cannot tell you exactly volume just by looking these two pictures. There are methods. If I have the console, I can determine the volume.
Can you give us from the pictures an estimate as to, in terms of small or large, the kind of volume that would be required to make those kinds of smears that you observe in the photograph, given the limitations that have been described?
Vague, no foundation, speculation.
Vague, small and large.
Well, could those smears be made with less than 1 cc of blood?
Same objection.
Oh,
Yes, could be made much less than 1 cc.
Thank you. Now, turning to what is, what do we call it, 1357? The board entitled Bloodstains on Evidence Bag. Dr. Lee, I'd ask you to come off the witness stand and describe for us, could you first tell us what are these pictures and where were they taken?
This bar consists of 4 pictures, which was taken February 18, 1995, when I was in Albany Medical Center. Examined some evidence sent to me by LAPD.
The picture on the upper left-hand corner of this board entitled Bloodstains on Outside of Paper Bag, item 78, boots. What does that show?
This is a view of a portion of the brown paper bag, which have a labeling, numbering, a set of initial, CY, and some lettering. It described to me this bag.
Seems to call for hearsay.
sustain. Ask a question.
Based on the numbers there and the property report records you had, what item did this bag correlate with?
No foundation.
Oh,
Item 78 boots.
Ron Goldman's boots?
Yes.
What observations can you make based on this photograph?
This photograph is the opening of this paper bag. Near the lettering A-774, here I see a contact smear approximately 4 inches long. The ruler where indicates shows the length of this contact smear.
What is the photograph on the bottom left-hand side here?
Bottom left-hand side shows a close-up view of this contact smear area.
The photograph, sorry. Is there anything else that we should observe about the close-up of this, why do you call this wet blood transfers?
No foundation for that.
Sustain.
Right, the board contains the phrase wet blood transfers in relation to this picture. Could you please explain that?
When I examine this stand carefully, it's a contact smear made of blood. This blood has to be in wet stage to get transferred. Once it's dried, you cannot transfer anymore. So that's why I refer a close-up view of a wet blood transfer.
And let me see if I understand this. You're saying that what has to be wet in order to cause this kind of transfer stain?
Yes, sir.
The object that is
The
making...
object, the surface, or items, or even a glove or any object have some wet blood, touch this brown paper bag, cause this transfer with emotion.
And what is the photograph on the upper right-hand corner of this board titled Bloodstains Inside Paper Bag, item 78? What does that represent?
The paper bag, when I look at the inside, I see wet transfer inside of the bag. The mechanism of this transfer remains the same. Has to be a wet surface, wet object with some wet blood, a surface object with some wet blood contact this brown paper bag cause such transfer.
And what is the picture in the lower right hand that says close-up wet blood transfers?
The close-up shows some of the blood has soaked through other side to the exterior surface.
Now, is it a good procedure to put an object such as a boot that is still wet with blood inside a paper bag?
So we start some evidence.
Oh,
I cannot say what the LAPD procedure. I did not review it. I'm not coming here to criticize anybody. My own procedure, if I collect, I don't put an object wet.
And why wouldn't you put a wet object into such a paper bag?
Because a transfer, you change the pattern. If an object has 2 or 3 different type of blood grouping, because it's transfer, now you may result some false reading.
Is that, could create mixtures? Where,
Yes.
where there weren't originally mixtures?
Yes,
Is that what's sometimes known as cross-contamination?
yes.
I think we're finished. Let's go.
It wouldn't let me like your thing, but I got there.
Dr.
Thank
Lee?
you so much,
check you put
Zach.
another
I
board.
appreciate
Yes,
it.
this would be
I'm not reading that. Yes, I am.
58.
Wishing you and yours
this
the
board is
happiest
entitled History
Boxing
of
Day
Item
possible.
47.
Merry
Blood Drop
Christmas,
and Bundy Walk
Hanukkah, Wanzamas.
Dr. Lee, could you please describe for us this board, starting with the picture on
Thank
the
you,
upper
Zach.
left-hand side, titled Item 47 Overall View? What is that photograph? What does it show?
Item 47 overall view is a crime scene photograph taken by the LAPD photographer, subsequently provided to me by defense team, which depicts an overall view of this walkway with some number plate, indicates certain locations.
The photograph immediately to the right, what is that?
This photograph also provided by the defense team. It shows a close-up view of this 112, photo plate number 112. That's a blood-like drop on the walkway. It's a bumpy walkway.
Now, on the bottom left-hand side of the board,
How about you just release me?
worksheet entitled Collection Note, June 13th, 1994. Could you please describe for us what this is?
This is a document which provided by you, indicates is a collection note.
Well, no foundation for personal knowledge, Your Honor.
Sustain.
All right, well, you provided the collection notes made out by Dennis Fung and Andrea Mazzola, as well as serology notes made by Colin Yamauchi as part of the discovery process in this case.
Hearsay calls for a conclusion, no personal knowledge.
Overruled. Were you provided with such a document?
Yes, sir.
Next question.
Calling your attention to this collection note of June 13th.
No foundation for this witness.
We've already had testimony on this, Your
Overruled.
Honor. What is this note?
It appears to be a documentation which shows the collection, the location of each stand, where they collected, and item number, property item number, and photo.
Your Honor, with permission, I'd like to take one of
I do read
yellow
everything
marker and just highlight items.
on
that
all
given
kinds of things. I read
You may.
I read all the words. Even when, it's probably not the best place or time to read all the words. I read all the words. I can't help it. And I think I know where it came from. Tell me I'm wrong. When we were growing up and we went into the bathroom, there were no cell phones. There was nothing to occupy our time, right? Except for shampoo bottles. Toilet paper packages. It's the only thing we had to do while we were in there is read bottles for a long time.
Dr. Lee, does this indicate, this photograph of, referring now to the item 47 close-up photo 112, this does not contain a ID photo with scale and ID?
Your Honor, this has been gone over.
Sustain. The picture pretty much speaks for itself, too, Counsel.
Yes. Were the number of swatches used to collect this gain counted or recorded on this note?
No,
Your Honor, no foundation.
Overruled. It's not there, but we went over this in cross-examination.
I understand.
with the phone.
Just moving along and refreshing.
No, we don't need to refresh, Counsel.
No. Dr. Lee, in your opinion, would it be your practice, if you were to take swatches in this fashion, to count and record the number?
Okay, not relevant.
Overruled.
I only can testify our procedure. I'm not here to criticize anybody else's procedure. It's a good practice to count the number.
And now call your attention to a serology note of June 14, 1994, of Colin Yamauchi, and call your attention to the item.
Why
47.
couldn't it have been
Have you,
5310?
Yes.
Why?
And are you familiar with the,
All right, the record reflected Counsel's highlighting that portion on that lower right-hand photograph.
are you familiar with the drawings made by Mr. Yamauchi of the swatches he found in the bindle for item number 47 on the morning of June 14th?
Yes.
And with respect to,
Your Honor, this has been the subject of previous testimony. I object to the
Overruled.
and no foundation.
Overruled. I haven't heard the question.
with respect to this diagram, on the area indicating samples remaining.
Diagram, Counsel?
Sorry?
You're talking about Mr. Yamauchi's serology report, correct?
Yes.
You said diagram.
I'm sorry. In the
Proceed.
report, there's a box indicating sample remaining. All right?
Yes.
How many swatches are indicated there as remaining?
Same objection.
Sustain. Document speaks for itself, Counsel.
Well, does the document indicate that 7 swatches are remaining?
Leave it, Your Honor, same objection.
Overruled.
Yes.
All right. In terms of the diagram itself, how many boxes do you see there?
I counted appear to be 8.
Is there a notation here?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to any further questions on this document. Speaks for itself.
Speaks for itself, Counsel.
No, Your Honor, this is foundational. I'm just moving on.
Counsel, we've seen it. You cross-examined Mr. Yamauchi extensively on it. What this witness happens to see there, the jurors have seen the document. The document is here in front of them.
Yes.
Let's proceed.
Move expeditiously. Is there one section there indicating that one of those swatches was sampled?
Your Honor, that's impossible.
Sustained.
Next floor, please. Just a second.
Nope, proceed.
Check, are you stupid or something? What part of this are you not getting?
The 1359, it's entitled History of Item 47, Blood Drop on Bundy Walkway. Dr. Lee, on the left-hand side of this board, there is a report indicating worksheet by Mr. Yamauchi that's entitled Serology Note of July 21st, 1994. Do you recognize this as a summary sheet indicating a transfer of swatches?
Document speaks for itself.
Overruled.
Yes.
What does it indicate?
No foundation calls for doing so.
Sustained. Document speaks for itself, counsel.
There's a
Shut
section
up,
here
Judge Ito. Did you hear that?
indicating
Same objections.
Chuck asked a question. Goldberg goes out, gets up. No, who is that that's talking? It doesn't matter. Objection. Document speaks for itself. Judge, overruled. Objection. Hearsay. Judge, sustained. Counsel, document speaks for itself. What? Guys, come on.
Overruled.
date, time, sample prepared, 7/1994, size description prepared sample, and a diagram of 5 swatches. And then a next box indicating date sent. July 24th, 1994. Do you see that?
Your Honor, same objections. May we approach?
Overruled. No, neither of you. Now proceed.
And is another box here indicating sample remaining size and description, and that has 2 swatches. Is
No
that correct?
foundation calls
Overruled.
for hearsay, speculation.
Counsel is directing the witness's attention to a particular part of this document. I assume there's a question coming after this.
Yes. Now, Dr. Lee, on the right-hand side of that diagram, there is a picture that indicates 5 swatches, July 27th, 1994 cell mark. Did you take that picture?
Yes.
Could you explain the facts and circumstances that led you to take that picture?
On July 27th, 1994, we had a court order, received that document by the defense team to appear in cell mark to observe the testing and to remove 10% of the sample from
Kelly,
each
no.
narrative item.
Overruled.
How are you?
When you arrived at cell mark, did you have an opportunity to see
How is today going for you,
samples
Kelly?
unpacked?
I didn't even see Kelly Newell sneak in. There she is.
Sample, yes.
Merry Christmas.
Did you have an opportunity to photograph them
Yes.
Kelly, are
as
you
they were
okay?
unpacked?
Yes.
What is that photograph we see there?
This photograph depicts on July 27th when this sample, number item 47, with a letter H, unpacked, inside contains 5 swatches. Subsequently, we label together with the cell mark scientist HA, HB, HC, HE, and HD to indicate this H is from 47 and 5 separate.
Who else was sure he was going to call ZZ? Who else is surprised he called
Did you
ZZ?
subsequently receive a photograph that was taken on August 12th, 1994 at the Department of Justice of 2 swatches from item 47 and the bindle in which it arrived?
Yes.
Is that depicted at the bottom right-hand side of this photograph?
This photograph depicts a portion view of a Millennium envelope,
Trust me, I know.
item 47, however, with a letter B as a boy. Inside contains 2 swatches.
Have the next word, please. 1360. Your Honor, just for the record, I'm going to highlight the item 47 on the worksheet.
Yes. right, this will be 1360.
Now, Dr. Lee, you're familiar with the kinds of swatches used by the Los Angeles Police Department for creating the swatches in
Valentine's
this
Day
case?
is fake holiday.
Have you actually examined samples of swatches provided to you by them?
Yes,
Are you familiar with the material?
yes.
Do you have experience in how long it would take one of these swatches that had distilled water and blood on it, in the fashion described by Ms. Mazzola in terms of swatching blood? Do you have some experience in assessing the time it takes such a swatch to dry?
Your Honor, I object to the approach.
Or will,
I have experience swatch, use similar type of cotton swatch myself, or my people, or my student, we determine the time required for a swatch to dry. I don't know what Ms. Mazzola, I did not observe her to swatch it, so I cannot say I have experience with her.
Now,
She literally made a whole
in your
video.
opinion,
This was back before cell phones. This was back before YouTube. She literally made a whole video showing how she gathers evidence, sir. Remember, we tore it apart because she touched the ground with her hand. Remember, she touched the ground with her hand like a normal human being would do. And then they said the evidence that was on the ground was definitely contaminated because she touched the ground with her hand. And you're saying you don't know how she collects evidence? We know how she collects evidence years and years and years and years later. She touches the ground with her hand. Ew, gross. Her gloved hand.
how long would it take one of these swatches to dry if it were put into a test tube in a wet state and the test tube was open and the test tube and the environment was a cabinet at room temperature?
Your Honor, no.
sustain.
Your judgment ordinarily...
Counsel, be careful here.
Okay. Your
Your Honor, may we approach?
No,
your opinion, how long would it take?
try again. Move on. Move on. Move on.
Judge, those two
Asking you to
words are
assume
way too late.
That a swatch, a
6
wet
months
blood
late.
swatch, was put into a test tube and left there for 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours. All right, I'll withdraw that question for the time being. Dr. Lee, I call your attention now to what is been marked as Defense 1360, a board entitled History of Item 47, Blood Drop on Bundy Walkway, Blood Swatches and Bloodstain Patterns of Wet Transfers. Dr. Lee, could you describe what the first photograph in the middle of this board is?
The first photograph depicts on the board, upper row, is cell mark. At that time, we photographed the 5 swatches.
And what is the photograph in the lower left-hand side here?
Second photograph is a close-up view of the DOJ photograph. Shows the 2 swatches. In addition, there are some reddish color imprint on this so-called binder. Paper, actually, it's a piece of paper.
Incidentally, Dr. Lee, what procedures do you use to dry swatches with blood, and how long, in your experience, does it generally
This
take?
might be Exhibit 1647.
Sustain.
I can't imagine it's Exhibit 647
Dr. Lee,
because
You can ask him
the
what-
defense
what's
side
indicated
is all
by the
over
photo.
1,000.
Well, I'm going to get to that, Your Honor, but I think I have, well, we'll
Proceed.
discuss this later. Now, Dr. Lee, In the course of reviewing discovery in this matter, did you have occasion to review notes made by Gary Sims at the Department of Justice with respect to his observations of item number 47, the bindle and the swatches that he received on August 18th, 1994?
Calls for hearsay, no foundation.
Overruled. The fact that he examined something doesn't call for hearsay.
Merry
And are
Christmas,
the
Mary.
notes?
You want an answer to
Merry
that
Christmas,
question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I
Mary.
thought he
How
said
are
yes.
you?
Yes,
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
stopping by today.
And are the notes that Mr. Sims made with respect to his observations the kinds of materials that an expert in your field ordinarily relies upon in forming scientific opinions?
yes.
And I'd like to
Okay, that lady's wrists in 2025 are killing her for the rest of her life right now.
for the record, I'll ask to mark these two pages, 1360A, document of 2 pages.
All right, 1368.
Frustrating is a good word for it.
Sure.
Long is a good word for it. Stupid is a good word for it. Repetitive is a good word for it. Not relevant is a good word for it.
I'll get it redacted.
All right.
Thank you. Dr. Lee, show you this note. Now, are you familiar with it?
Yes.
All right. Now, with permission, I'd like to read the note and ask Dr. Lee if the observations here are consistent with what he sees in the photograph.
Calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Now, do these notes reflect observations by Mr. Sims that are consistent with what you see in this photograph?
Calls for conclusions and objections.
Overruled.
Yes.
Is there a record here of
Beep, beep, beep,
the
beep,
wet
beep.
transfer that you just pointed out to the jury and a
Sustained.
description of it?
Sustained. That's hearsay.
On the second page of this document, does Mr.
I
Sims
mean,
indicate
It's
with
not
respect to
funny
item
anymore.
49
The joke is not funny anymore. But I remember about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, I was like, man, I've been with this trial more than most of my relationships. And now it's been over a year that we've been here watching OJ. Definitely longer than most of my relationships. Definitely.
Your Honor, single
Sustained. Mr. Cochran.
Call your attention now to the photograph entitled New Haven on this board. Could you please describe what that is?
This
a
has gone
photograph
on
which I took
longer than some of my Viber relationships.
April 2nd, 1995, when finally the original bindle, so-called bindle, actually it's a paper packet, sent to me. I photographed that. Shows I have one swatch left.
I don't know, Zach, but it's
Now,
held by a
after you
2-year-old.
examine this photograph, which I'd like to mark 1360C,
60.
small photograph. But
What was B?
I think A with the 2 pieces of paper for Mr. Sims, and I'd ask that this photograph be marked as B.
B. Madam Reporter, how's your paper supply?
Dr. Lee, what is 1360B?
1360B is a photograph which I took. Shows the interior surface of this paper packet or bindle. With my ruler indicates the presence of some wet transfer imprints.
Court's permission, I'd like to put this up for a minute on done.
Yes. We're slightly out of focus there, Mr. Harris. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd ask that you have to use the telestrator and focus on two
Put
at
an
a time.
arrow on the items he notes.
Dr. Lee, using the telestrator, could you point out the
If I had
stains of interest, and please direct Mr.
just slightly more energy, I would do that, Zach. I would upload every single transcript from all 493 videos into ChatGPT, and then ask him or her or it, is OJ guilty or innocent? Knowing that as soon as okay, if you guys don't use ChatGPT a lot, it's like working with a goldfish. They can remember 10 seconds, but after that they forget everything before then. So if you give ChatGPT like 4 text messages in a row, by the time you get to the 4th text message, they had forgotten the first one already. Unless you specifically say, please remember this. And then they store it in their memory. So you would have to upload some of the transcripts while telling ChatGPT, make sure that you store this in your memory. And then upload a few more and say, make sure you store this, and then say, now, do you remember the first 4? Do you still have the first 4? Because after a while they'll say, well, yeah, I know you told me to update it in my memory, but that's really not something I do. And then you have to go to ChatGPT and upload it again. So there's 0 chance you could upload 493 transcripts and ChatGPT remember them all. They would just mess with you for days while you kept trying. They probably giggle at you while you keep trying.
Mr. Harris on.
Got it. Oops. Basically shows the 4 transfer input.
Print this out as 1360
C.
C.
All right, let's clear the telestrator. Mr. Shep.
Dr. Lee, you've now focused in on 2 of these transfers. Could you please identify them and describe them?
The first one appears to be a parallelogram, a pattern of transfer.
Stupid Gemini.
The second one is consistent with a square shape transfer.
Could we print this out as 1360
D, as in David.
D as in David?
Go ahead, Mr. Shep.
All right. Please.
It doesn't take long to capture, it just takes longer to print it out.
No, I understand.
All right.
Howard, says I can't move it. Move to the other side, please.
It's okay, Amy. I frequently swear.
Dr. Lee, what is this?
Here is another parallelogram transfer imprint. Here appears to be a double triangle transfer imprint.
Should we print that out as
Double rainbow.
1360E?
E as in Edward.
Double rainbow.
Now, Dr. Lee,
Objection, interference. Too many men on the field.
Dr. Lee, I take it that the picture in 1360 that you made of swatches at Selmark and the picture that you took in New Haven as is reflected by
I'm working on swearing more
1360
often, too.
A, the one that we had up in the Elmo, both have rulers,
Yes,
right? And by means of that as a scale, were you able to do enlargements of, and I should withdraw, and also the picture from the Department of Justice I see has a ruler.
yes,
And by means of using those rulers as scales, were you able to do enlargements of the swatches depicted in this board and also the bindle that you saw in New Haven?
yes.
Your Honor, I would like to now move to the next board.
I think I saw that movie, Kelly, but I do not remember.
So marked.
History of item 47, blood drop on Bundy walkway. Dr. Lee, what is this?
Before we do, Your Honor, I made a mistake.
All right, why don't you talk to Mr. Shack briefly?
It's March 9th.
Wait, excuse me, Councilman. Mr. Shack, why don't you confer with your witness for a moment?
And then switch your accounts.
Dr. Lee, what you just indicated that you made an error in your discussion. Could you please describe what that is?
Just now, I appear say April
Remember
2nd,
Porky's when he had the ruler?
Memory served me correctly. That's incorrect. Should be March 9th, 1995. You have
What does this board represent? The photographs here.
This shows the date which, when the bindle shipped to me by Johnny Cochran's office, I open up the bindle, paper packet. Inside have a small paper packet, contains one swatch. Wet transfer was noticed, so I took a series of photographs to show this wet transfer.
And one of those photographs was the one we put up on the elbow before.
Yes,
It was just so good. It was
So-
just so
I'm sorry.
funny.
Which photograph?
He's indicating that 1360.
No, I understand. Is one of the photographs we put up on the Elmo.
I'm about to say 1360C is a close-up of blood patterns of wet transfer that is reflected
Funny.
on this exhibit in the
Not
upper right-hand
Porky's
corner,
funny,
and
but
it's
funny.
labeled.
yes, sir.
And that is the photograph with the ruler.
Yes.
Now, I think we can move to the next word.
Police Academy and Airplane 2. Not 2 as well, but Airplane 2 is also funny as well. 2.
Your Honor, on this board, I'm going to object, subject to a motion to strike for accurately blowing up the photograph.
All right.
Now, I'd like this board marked as defense
62.
1362. And Dr. Lee, what is this?
This is a further enlargement of the photograph, which is depicts in a previous exhibit, the top one of the second cup.
And Dr. Lee, going to mark a series of, I have 7
Kathy.
brown
Kathy.
photographs,
Why are you calling me Shirley?
each separate, and I'd ask you to tell us what these are. And first just generally, and then we'll mark them individually. What are these in general?
This in general contains 7 pieces of an enlargement.
Yeah, but they said that about radio. They said that about TV. They said that about the
One
internet.
set labeled H, A through E. 5 of them. HA, HB, HC, HD, HE.
Are those blow-ups of the pictures that we saw in the tray that had the same markings, the one picture you took at Cellmark?
Here,
Yes.
also object subject to motion to strike, same grounds
Your Honor,
as the
I would-
blow-ups.
Roll, proceed,
Wasn't it supposed to be done at another time?
proceed.
What are the other two?
Other two is the enlargement by same scale, same proportion, the two swatches from DOJ, Department of Justice photo.
Your Honor, these, I'd ask them to mark, is this board magnetized, Dr. Lee?
Yes,
Are these blow-ups of the swatches also magnetized?
yes.
And, Your Honor, on the back of the magnetized swatches are labels, HA,
So much
H
effort
E,
for I don't really
H
care,
E.
sir.
HD, and HE.
I have
that
a strong
correspond
urge to
with
just
the
fast
Cellmark
forward it
swatches.
for videos.
So I'd ask that those be labeled.
We'll do 13,
Oh, there was a
52,
horrible YouTube glitch,
HA,
guys.
HC, etc.
I had to skip 4 whole videos.
Thank you. And then the remaining two swatches,
Are these DOJ?
the
Oh
DOJ
no,
swatch.
How
my
about
chat
DOJ
just
1 and DOJ 2?
my chat didn't like that you're gonna gain weight and it just
DOJ 1 and DOJ 2.
crashed. Hopefully I'm still live streaming. Am I? Am I still live streaming? Did I crash? I'm just gonna pretend I didn't crash.
And the record should reflect, I'm just going to lay them out for a second, Your Honor, if I might, on the jury box so that the jury can see the labels on the back.
The labels on the back? No, the labels on
I
the
will
back are
help you
relevant.
gain those
Well, the
50
H, A,
pounds.
B, C.
You just eat what I eat, drink what I drink every day.
We'll need some foundation as to scale and correlation, counsel.
Dr. Lee, could you describe the process by which the swatches and this board were enlarged?
They all have a ruler. The red ruler is my ruler.
You're gonna have to get real intimate with
That's
butter.
a so-called 6-inch ruler. So basically, you can look at this. This is a metric system. And 1 millimeter is equivalent now to 18 millimeter. That's the ruler enlargement. So the rest of the pattern is enlarged with it.
Your Honor, for the record, Dr. Lee used one of his rulers. Could we mark that as an exhibit?
Yes, we'll make that 1362 comma ruler. I take it this is one of your souvenir rulers?
Yes.
Thank you.
And also for the record, I don't know if this was reflected, he was using this ruler to measure the enlargement.
Yes.
And were the swatches enlarged in the same fashion?
I did not enlarge those myself.
Did you direct that they be enlarged in a one-to-one?
Yes.
Now,
What's your question? What
what was your direction with respect to
I
this?
said enlarge with the same scale, same proportion.
Now, Dr. Lee, what can you tell us about the nature of these wet transfer patterns that are depicted on 1362?
The mechanism of this transfer is relatively straightforward and simple. A wet swatch have to contact this surface, cause such a transfer. There's no alternative. That's the scientific fact. We see some transfer. That's called mechanism. As far as the manner, they may have different explanation.
At this point, no question pending.
All right, next question.
All right. Dr. Lee, have you made an effort using these swatches, and looking at the transfer patterns, to see if you can match up the swatches to the patterns? And could you explain your analysis?
We have 7 swatches.
This is
Appear
freaking
before
ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
However, we do see some of the pattern appear to either have a movement or some addition. But we don't have all 7 this.
When you say all 7, you mean you don't have 7?
I don't have 7 perfect pattern, transfer pattern. I have 7 swatches. One of those patterns appear to be a mirror image of
I
each other.
can't. Most of the people who are
That's
watching this are on
consistent with
replay
the
crew,
parallel,
and they don't get to vote.
which almost fit of one
They can slow
of
it
these
down, but it
swatches.
sounds weird.
1 second, please. The record reflects that Dr. Lee has pointed to the pattern on the upper left-hand side of 1362, a pattern on the upper right-hand side of 1362, and he is handling a swatch that is labeled HE.
H-E.
And because it's magnetized, he's placed it over that pattern. Yes.
You can fit here if this portion of the paper touch this one, because this side going to fit on this side.
Oh no, his magnet got wet.
So that's why
I'm sorry,
we
I'm
refer
sorry.
a copy and mirror image. The next one I can see could be fit is this one. Only portion fit this corner, but the other side, maybe some reason did not have a direct contact, so that this one is a copy.
But the record reflects that Dr. Lee has been referring here to the swatch labeled HD and is referring to the transfer pattern on the left side of 1362, but is lower than the other one he previously referred to.
Why don't we mark these 1 through 4 going left to right? That'll be easier if we do that for the record.
Okay.
Why don't you
Thank
take a
you,
mark
Kelly. I will
have
look
Dr.
at that. I
Lee
see
number
it.
1 through 4 starting at the left.
The further left-hand side one, we mark was 1,
It's good for you to be proud of your nugget
Two.
sack.
3, 4.
Mr. Schiff.
All right. Dr. Lee, you were about to, before I interrupted you, move on to the next swatch and pattern.
I think we lost one swatches.
It's in your hand. It's in your hand.
This is HD, the one you just referred
Oh, never mind.
As I explained earlier, 1 and 4 could be a mirror image. 2 may be explainable. 3, if you look carefully, maybe the view is not too good, but you look carefully, appear to be a double image with a triangle shape. So the only triangle I have is this HB. However, this triangle is much bigger than this triangle. Unless this triangle folded in a certain condition, which I have no knowledge of it. The rest of 4, I can't find any place to fit. By looking at pattern,
So I
looking
tried.
at the shape,
I
and the
tried the
measurement.
Arby's steak nuggets. And here's my issue. They give you them in this little cup, this little paper cup with a plastic lid, right? I'm guessing that if you would have gotten the steak nuggets freshly cooked, they would actually be pretty good. But the things that they give you in this little cup are microwaved, burning hot, and all stuck together in one piece. You can pick up one nugget and the whole thing comes out. And then some of the meat from the microwave, from over microwaving it like to death, gets really hard. But then there's some on the inside that's still soft. But if they would just serve them hot, no microwave involved, they might. They have the possibility of being okay. I wouldn't know.
Unless have other type of explanation.
All right,
Doc-
Mr. Schiff. Sorry, forgive me for interrupting you at this point. we have a request for a comfort break, so we'll stay in place, and any jurors who need to take a quick comfort break, go ahead right now.
And Your Honor, could we take that opportunity to approach quickly?
No. God, what is your problem, Shaq? Stop. He needs a spray bottle of water. No. Bad lawyer. I'm going to go take a
Specifically,
comfort
what
break. I'll be right
experience,
back.
personal experience,
Be right
do you have
back.
in observing and noting the drying of swatches of this nature? Could you describe that experience for us?
A drop of stain, blood stain found on a surface. If the stain already dropped, if you try to transfer to a swatch, you have to wet the swatch.
This is non-responsive. I don't think the witness understands.
I think he's,
State another question. The issue is, this witness's personal experience with blood swatching using swatches of this technique, this particular size and type, handling, packaging, etc.
Dr. Lee, do you have experience with the use of wetting swatches of this nature, swatching bloodstains, and then observing how long it takes them to dry?
Yes.
Could you describe for us your experience in that regard?
Generally, approximately 3 hours should
Well,
dry.
Your Honor, that's
Wait,
non-responsive.
the answer is stricken jurors to disregard.
Have you done that? Have you observed others do that?
Yes.
Answer will stand. Next question.
All right. And when you have done that and observed others do that, how long does it take swatches of this nature to dry?
Sustain. Inadequate foundation.
All right. When I say do that,
Mr. Scheck, what I'm interested in,
I
personal experience swatching, personal experience in the drying process, personal experience then having dried them, then packaging them, personal experience on the witness stand, still undergoing direct examination by Mr. Scheck. And Mr. Scheck, I understand you have one or two
I'm
closing
swearing
Dr.
heavily
Lee,
right now,
the
Amy.
last answer you just
at
gave this
YouTube.
jury with respect to this
Heavily.
board is you said something is wrong. Could you please explain what you mean?
What I mean,
Calls for a conclusion, Your Honor. Opinion, speculation, no foundation.
Overruled.
what I mean, there are 7 swatches, maybe a potential 8 swatches, 4 imprints, wet transfer on the paper. If 7 swatches all dry, I shouldn't see any wet transfer. If 7 swatches all wet, I should see 7 transfers. I only see 4. The number did not add up. There may be reason to explain. I don't know.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Goldberg? All right, may we approach with the court report, please?
Ito, you caved. You caved. You gave in to them. I only saw 4. Maybe some were more wet than others. This is a 6-minute video. And it includes a sidebar. Is his finger up there? Oh, no.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, Mr. Scheck,
That
can you take
leaves
the board
me
stand,
out.
please? All right, back on the record. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the day as far as the jury is concerned. want you to rest assured that I'll be working all rest of the afternoon, all day Saturday and Sunday. Please have a pleasant weekend, but before I let you go, remember all my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you, or allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. And as far as the jury is concerned, we'll stand in recess until Monday morning at 9 a.m. And Dr. Lee, you may step down. All right, thank you. All right, we'll stand in recess.
At this point in time. And another one is a video that was taken on the 17th. And counsel, and actually that one came from the defense.
When you say turned over, these are tapes that were not played or put into evidence yet.
Portions of the second tape were, but not the clips that we're going to show. And may I just check on the other one?
I think we have a right to see what they're going to use before they use it.
And one was, Ms. Clark advises me, was played before the jury. The one
All
on
right,
the
one's already
13th.
been played.
That's what she's advised me.
All right, and the other one.
Has not been played. The portion, the clip that we're going to show.
All right, and what's the source of this video?
News footage in it that came to us through the defense from one of their tapes.
All right, this is from the 17th.
Yes.
All right, news footage as to what? From the Bundy crime scene?
Yes.
I just want to look at it to see what they're talking about before they show it, that's all.
All right. Do you want to screen this with Dr. Lee out of the courtroom?
If we could, Your Honor.
All right, Dr. Lee, why don't you step outside for us, please? Thank you. All right, Mr. Ferretlow, do you have that available? Yes, sir. How long is this? All right, let's see it.
Of course we don't get to see it. Of course we don't.
That was the clip we want to show.
All right, Mr. Schick.
The footage of, at the beginning of the police walking in and the grieving couple and then the police walking in, I don't remember that. The footage, the aerial footage of the people walking around the rear of Bundy in the back gate, that I remember as being on the clips. I don't know where the other clips came from. I don't recall having seen these.
Goldberg?
I remember seeing it, but more importantly, Mr. Ferretlow tells me that that's where it comes from. And I know that he's very familiar with these tapes.
Well, the question being, are you going to be able to lay a foundation for the source of this tape and the date and time?
We'll be able to lay a foundation for the date and the time, just as was done with all of the other tapes that were shown here.
All right.
Oh, wait, the way we did that was, we were very strictly limited to laying the foundation through the witnesses themselves. We had to show it to the witnesses who were at the scene and have them acknowledge that that was themselves, and those were events that they saw.
At a particular date and time
No,
and
actually,
location?
that didn't happen at all, Your Honor, and that was a major source of contention.
Well, no,
for-
Mr. Goldberg, I allowed the videotape subject to the parties laying a foundation for it
I
as far as
understand.
date and time. My only question as far as, I assume the reason for this is to show that there are other explanations why there may be other footprints around,
Correct.
because of the multiplicity of people going up and down that walkway. That's what I assume this is
Correct.
for. Okay. The problem being is obviously we need a date and time as to when these people are walking up and down the walkway? Do you have some of those police officers who can
Oh, yes.
testify?
Yes, we have people that can authenticate this.
Right.
We have what?
My, as the court,
I think we probably have a civilian witness who may be here today. But at any rate, we do.
All right, an offer of proof, you need to tell me who the people are and what they're going to testify to. You need to make an offer of proof that you can lay the foundation for this.
The offer of proof would be that there are police officers that were there at the time that would be able to say that's the 17th, including people like Ron Phillips, including Ron Hardy, who's one of the
Swearing
civilian
comes
witnesses
easy.
depicted in the tape.
Yeah, I saw Mr. Hardy.
And this is not at all going to be difficult. I mean, these are very unique events that
No, I'm just making-
hopefully will never happen again in
No,
in
Mr. Goldberg,
human history.
the only point I'm making is that you
Yes.
need to make me an offer of proof
Okay.
naming names as to who's going to tell me
Okay.
this. All right, Mr. Sheck?
yes, it would seem to me that if they want to put this on, in terms of the facts and circumstances of what those people walking in, well, it's my understanding, for example, from speaking with Mr. Hardy when we went to visit the crime scene, that he had washed down the front area of all the blood. Now the question is, when did these events take place? They're not presumably walking through blood from the front walkway up. All those would have to be examined with some particularity. It seems to me, for purposes of cross-examining Dr. Lee, it's sufficient to ask him questions about how foot impressions could occur at dates prior to the time that he was there, and would that change his opinion. But it seems to me improper at this point in time, given this offer, to allow them to show the tapes. They can put it on in the rebuttal case if they can lay the proper foundation. But it seems to me doing this at this time would be improper, and it's certainly something that we were not permitted to do with any of the prosecution witnesses. In other words, every tape, we had to have a prosecution witness, be it Detective Lang or be it Funger Mazzola, who would say, yes, I remember either seeing those
That's
people...
not correct, Mr. Sheck. I allowed you to use several videotapes on offers of proof that you could establish when they were made and when they came, where they were from, and some of them obviously were self-authenticating given the events that they depicted. That wasn't necessary.
My recollection is that in each and every instance, we had to show the tape to the witness, and the witness had to say, I recall those events, or I was there at that event. And
So somebody has to lay a
tape.
foundation for it, but I've accepted offers of proof.
Well, in any event, it seems to me that at this point in time, it would be sufficient to simply ask him questions about that that are consistent with that they think these tapes will show before showing these tapes without an offer. That's all.
All right, Mr. Goldberg, you indicated that there are 2 videos.
Yes.
What's the second?
The second video is a video of that Ms. Clark advises me has already been shown from American Journal, that shows a photographer walking on the Bundy Walk after the... No? All right, well, actually, I guess there are 2 tapes. We may have had a miscommunication. One is a tape from American Journal that's People's 101, which shows the police officers rolling up the crime tape and walking up the bloody walk. I think it was originally introduced by the defense, or portions of it, as I recall, with Risky. And it's trying to show that the police trampled through and tromped over the blood and so on, contaminated the crime scene. And then later on, the people showed that this happened after the crime scene was broken down. So that's one tape. But there's another tape which was apparently then taken chronologically after that, which is taken by a photographer or videographer that shows what I refer to as the second plane of tiles. In other words, the plane of tiles that's immediately west of where Nicole would have been located. And he's walking up and down, and he scans back and forth over these tiles and shoots into the apartment. And you can see some of the letters still intact, the chalk letters from the crime scene. Crime scene is closed. You can see some of the footprints on the walk, and you can see this photographer's feet coming into contact with the walk, of course,
And
as
who
he's
is
walking.
this videographer? Who is the videographer?
I'm not sure if it's the same. I'm not sure if it's Darrell Williams.
Well, what's your offer of
First
proof
one
as
is-
to being able to lay a foundation for
Okay,
it?
well, this is what we laid the foundation for this, exactly the same way that we laid the foundation for the sequence of tapes that the defense first showed of Dennis Fung going in and out of Rockingham. That is circumstantially, just as they did. Obviously,
How long is this second tape?
the second one is only about 10 seconds.
Let's see it. Is this the best quality that you have?
Yes, Your Honor.
What were we supposed to have seen from that?
Well, you can see a photographer walking on the walkway. You can see chalk marks on the walkway with letters on them. You can see some of the Bruno Mali shoe prints on the walkway.
All right, Mr. Farrell, let me see it again.
You do actually have to look at it more than once to catch all those features, but they're all there. Touch that, Your Honor.
There appear to be also candles burning in.
What? Yes.
Candles, is there ice cream?
All right. Do we have a source for this?
The dog is the source, the barking dog.
Okay, well, Mr. Fairtlow tells us this was provided in video clips provided to us by the defense, so no, we do not have a source other than that. But the point is, Your Honor, that it's obvious, it's after the murder because we have chalk marks, it's after the murder because we have Bruno Mali prints, and it's before Henry Lee did his examination, and that's all we need to show circumstantially for these purposes.
How do we know it's before Henry Lee did his examination?
How would the candle still be burning on June the 25th inside the apartment? And also the prints at the location weren't as...
You say the Bruno Mali shoes print. This is a very poor quality videotape. Let me see this again, Mr. Farrell.
And on the June 17th video, you can see that they did do some cleanup. And these look fairly pristine, the Bruno Mali prints.
Well, I didn't see anything that leapt out at me as a Bruno Mali shoe print.
Well, Your Honor, if the court, you see, I've been out to the scene now about half a dozen times, and I've been out there with those photographs, and I am very familiar with that Bodziak chart. And you can figure out exactly what tiles various prints are on. It's fairly easy to do. Our chart is laid out that way. And if you concentrate on those tiles, and you can tell which tile numbers they are from that photograph too, once you start orienting yourself with the geographic features.
And
Yes,
what's the,
you can.
what's
know
the
that
purpose
those are.
of this?
Yes,
Just to
there-
show that there's some videographer who's running up and down the walkway taking pictures? Is that the point?
Right. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
There's a
Mr.
person
Chair.
who's walking on the walkway.
I think that this particular one certainly is, based on this offer, we have no way of knowing exactly when this picture was taken, who was there, how they were working, what their shoes were like, or anything to that effect. So I don't think that, based on this offer, it could be used at this point for impeachment.
I don't think it's for impeachment. I think it's for cross-examination. Did Dr. Lee take this into consideration, the public access to that walkway immediately after the crime scene was processed? I think that's the issue.
Well, I think he can ask that question, but it seems to me that it would be, without knowing when this was taken and what was involved at the time, it seems to me that it would be it's certainly a 352 problem with respect to showing that to the jury.
But isn't the depiction of the candle still burning a pretty key indication as to what, when, where, and why?
Well, maybe. I understand that there were even some instances where certain television people went back and did pictures with recreations and may have relit the candles. I don't know. I mean, we haven't been able to authenticate precisely that tape either.
Mr. Goldberg?
Well, Your Honor, this is kind of funny because we showed the videotape of Tarisky of someone tromping up the walk based on the same kind of circumstantial argument, only there wasn't anything really to say when it was taken. The defense simply wanted to infer, even though Risky didn't see those
Have
events.
you made any effort whatsoever to locate somebody to lay a foundation for this?
Yes, we have started making efforts, but as Your Honor knows, we were jammed with a tremendous amount of information at the last minute. And I have been working full-time on this
Well, you've had
every
this
day.
videotape for a long time, counsel.
I realize that, but as the court can appreciate, my attentions have been distracted to other things. Your Honor, what the court the way that the court should view these kinds of problems is what sorts of arguments can be made and what sorts of inferences can be reasonably drawn from the evidence by the attorneys at the time it's argued. Ms. Clark is going to be able to say, look, we know when it was taken because there are chalk marks, there are Bruno Mali imprints. She's going to be able to correlate it back to our chart 100% to show that this was taken after the murder. She's going to be able to point out to the candle to show that it was taken before the 25th of June. And also show the evidence that the walkway was washed down, and therefore the chalk marks wouldn't have appeared. Also showing it was before June the 25th. What is Mr. Cochran going to do?
Wait a minute. Who washed down the walkway?
I think that was already in evidence. That was Ron Hardy.
Has he testified?
I thought there was some evidence about him washing it down. But at any rate, Your Honor, what is Mr. Cochran going to argue? Maybe
Well,
this wasn't.
at this point, it's not relevant as to what Mr. Cochran's going to argue or not argue.
Well, the point is in
No,
terms.
no, counsel, that's not the point. Point is, if you tell me you're going to bring in Ron Hardy to say that he washed down the walkway and washed down the blood and washed away the chalk, and that this videotape took place prior to that, then I'll allow this. If you can't make that representation to me, then I'm not going to allow it. Take your pick.
Your Honor, we'd like to confirm how far up the walkway he washed before I make that representation. He washed the whole thing.
All right, then I'll allow it. All right, anything else?
I have a problem with that.
I've ruled, counsel.
No,
Next issue.
on the factual representation, I just want to make this point to the court, you should know it. The
Counsel,
cho-
I'll allow it. It'll be subject to a motion to strike.
Well, let me just
Let's
put this
proceed.
on the record before they make their representation, just so it's clear. And that is that it's my understanding that chalk marks were visible all the way to the 25th, all right, in that walkway area. In addition, when we were at the scene, for our last visit prior to the night viewing matter, I had a discussion with Mr. Hardy, and I think it's also in the so-called murder book about what he washed down and what he didn't. And I think it's perfectly apparent, and it's what he told me, that he washed down the front area, all right, the lower plane, near the closed-in area. He did not wash down the other walkway. That's clear because even when Dr. Lee was looking there on June 25th, there are still imprints of Bruno Magli shoes. So I don't see how they can make this representation that he washed down that entire walkway area, because I think that on the face of it, that's impossible.
Well, they're making that representation.
Well,
We'll
I
proceed
find
on
that
that.
troubling because it's contrary to what we were told. And
All
what
right,
I
but
think
counsel,
the
I
perfect
found
remedy is.
the fact that the candles that they're burning
Well-
and the prints are still there and the chalk is still there pretty compelling circumstantially.
The
So I'm going to
candles-
allow it.
The candles are the only issue, but I can't. How do we know that those candles?
Counsel, I've ruled.
All right.
I've explained to you. Anything else?
Yes, there's one more chart that I wanted to use that's been bar-coded, and it's called four-way linkage. It comes from Dr. Lee's book, Crime Scene Investigation. And can we put that up just so they can see that?
All right. Fascinating.
I know it's not a big deal, but I want to give council notice of it. It's on page 80.
All right, Mr. Scheck, you're aware of that? I'm sure you've seen that before.
No. Crime scene investigation.
Right.
Yes.
All right, nothing too surprising about that since it comes from Dr. Lee's works. All right, anything else that
No.
you need to display?
No.
All right. Yes.
Now, with respect to the offers on the footage that was seen before, I take it that have you ruled on the? I take it you made a ruling on the one with the candles.
Yes.
I didn't know if you'd made a ruling on the others before.
Yes.
Just with respect to those, it seems to me that without any showing as to footwear, or if they've made any efforts to figure out what the footwear was and what the situation was with respect to blood, on what I guess they're saying is June 17th is the offer, as I understand it. It seems to me at this point in time, it's a 352 problem. I think it's more prejudicial than relevant at this point. It seems to me that perfectly okay for them to ask whether Dr. Lee is considered who had been to the crime scene and under what circumstances on previous occasions and would certain things make a difference. But to show them a tape like that without any foundation that we have at this point as to exactly what they were wearing, what the circumstances were, what the cleanup was of the area, it seems to me, before they put on those witnesses, unfairly prejudicial.
All right. I'm going to overrule the objection subject to the offer of proof by the prosecution that they can produce a police officer to lay the foundation for that particular videotape. All right, let's have the jurors. Also, as a matter of scheduling, Counsel, we have a juror dental appointment Wednesday, the 31st. That requires us to conclude at 3:15 on Wednesday, just for your scheduling. I'm sorry, the 30th. 30th, Wednesday. Yes.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Mr. Cochran.
I spoke briefly with Mr. Goldberg this morning because I don't want to have any more downtime if we can avoid it. And he indicates he perhaps will finish with Dr. Lee in a half day. The court is aware that you'd earlier said we would do the, you're smiling, we'd do the McKinney matter tomorrow morning. We have another witness we've given the prosecution, I think, that will be here for this afternoon. We're going to, today's a 5 o'clock day, right? I'm trying to use as much time as possible. Does the court want to do the McKinney tapes this afternoon? Is there a possibility of that? I'm just trying
No,
to
I
save
haven't
us-
finished my
Okay,
preparations yet.
all right, so we'll have at least one other witness today, and then we've got a Chicago witness coming tonight. Okay. Thank you.
All right, the record should reflect that Dr. Henry Lee is again on the witness stand. Good morning, Dr. Lee.
Good morning, sir.
Doctor, you're reminded that you were still under oath, and Mr. Goldberg, you may commence your cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Lee.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
Little tired.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Dr. Lee, I just wanted very briefly
Tired
to ask
of
you a few
you.
questions about some of the qualifications that you went over with Mr. Scheck when you began your testimony. Just so that we're clear, you are an expert in forensic DNA technology, is that correct?
A lot of people refer me as an expert, yes.
Okay. And you consider yourself to be an expert in forensic DNA technology?
I know something about DNA, little bit, not everything.
Okay. Quite a bit, right? In terms of its forensic application?
Forensic application, yes.
All right. And Mr. Scheck was asking you about some of the things that your laboratory does in the forensic area. Is this laboratory exclusively a forensic laboratory?
Yes,
All right. And are you using RFLP technology in forensic cases?
yes,
And are you also using PCR technology in forensic cases?
yes,
Dr. Lee, are you using PCR technology in criminal cases both to include and exclude people as having committed a crime?
yes.
All right. Now, you were asked about some of the cases that you and your lab people have participated in involving the identification of human remains. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Now, most of the cases that were referred to happened abroad. I think one in South America, and then there was a number of instances in Europe. Is that correct?
Some in this country too, yes.
What were the technologies that are being used in the cases that you referred to on direct examination for purposes of human identification?
Human identification, basically both technique, depends on the bone sample, smaller sample, we have to use PCR, no other choice. If no high molecular weight DNA, or extract from the sample, we have to do the best we can do. If have a large amount of sample, of course, RFLP is a choice.
Okay. And, sir, when you're saying that you used PCR technology, does that include the cases that you were referring to in, as a result of the conflicts in Europe to
Steven!
identify people that
Ha!
have been
Merry Christmas.
killed as a result of the war
Yes,
there?
those victim was found in an unnamed grave or mass grave, unidentified human remains. For the humanity reason, we want to find out what's the loved one, so we try to help those countries identify those human remains.
And Dr. Lee, is it your stated position that forensic scientists are in the best position to evaluate whether PCR technology is ready to make the technology transfer into the forensic field?
I think forensic scientists should have a good saying about what method we should do, what's the reliable procedure, what kind of applications. Certain sample, doesn't matter what we do, we have problems. Other samples, forensic scientists, we should have a choice, not dictated by molecular biologists or other scientists tell us what to do.
Okay. Now, Dr. Lee, I wanted to just mention very briefly, or ask you very briefly about one of the matters that you just alluded to a few moments ago
Yes, sir.
regarding identification of human remains in cases here in the continental United States.
Yes.
Your most famous such case where you were personally involved at the crime scene, not at the time of the crime, but afterwards,
Thank you very much.
was the People versus Crafts case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that a case, sir, where the victim in that case, Helen Crafts, was killed by her husband, and he disposed of her by putting her body through a wood chipper machine?
Yes.
With court order, please. All right, thank you, counsel. Mr. Goldberg, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And in that particular case, is it a fair summary of what happened, that the biological evidence was spread out over a very significant amount of territory, about 2,500 square feet, in the snow by a river, as a result of the body having gone through the wood chipper machine?
The majority probably wound up in the river. Only small fragment were found scattered around the riverbank.
Okay. And when you got out to the crime scene, the police officers were picking out one little piece of evidence at a time. Is that correct? A very laborious process.
We actually milled the snow inch
Okay.
by inch, and we don't know what we pick it up, just leaves, debris, and then go through preliminary recognition identification through that.
Okay. And that was the suggestion that you came up with to speed things up, because you saw that the police method was just going to take too long. Is that correct?
No, we work together. It's a team effort.
Right. And just so it's clear, what was done in that case is large amounts of snow were put in buckets and then taken into tents and melted, and the biological evidence would tend to fall or sink to the bottom of the bucket, and all the debris would tend to rise to the top, and you just throw the debris out and take the biological evidence out from the bottom.
Not exactly. Any recognizable material. For example, we found a fingernail. You can recognize. You don't have to throw in a bucket. You just take it out. If it's a bone chips, we can recognize, or a tooth. We have a team of scientists, team of investigators work together. Things we can see and recognizable, right away you remove it. For example, I can see a scissor. I collect the scissor. I don't have to throw the scissor in the bucket. Since we cannot visually recognize, then we use the second procedure.
And that included some of the biological evidence in the case.
Yes.
And Dr. Lee, when that occurred, when the items would fall to the bottom of the bucket, various different biological samples could get mixed together, or were mixed together. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
And it also mixed together human biological samples with others that were out there, like deer bones and the like. Is that
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Yes. And despite that, sir, it was proper, and you did decide to attempt DNA technology on this evidence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. But this case was a little while ago, as I recall. It was in the mid-'80s?
Yes.
Yeah. So with the state of the technology at that time, you were not actually able to do DNA. True?
No, we did some DNA work.
Oh, you did?
We did some XY, determine male, female.
Okay. And you were also able to do, and when I say you, I'm also including your laboratory people.
Yes.
Able to do some conventional serology. Is that true?
Yes, we did with laboratory scientists, also some are consulting, life co-scientists, University of New Haven, Dr. Gansling. We're bringing a lot of other experts together, work on the evidence.
Okay. And you were able to get results that identified the human remains in that case, even though all the biological evidence was mixed together at the time that it was collected?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, in that case, to your recollection, did the police transport the biological evidence to the lab in sealed containers?
Is outside the scope of direct and relevant.
Those material collect in a container. It's a plastic cup, have a screw-up cup.
Okay.
Also, they put in an envelope. It's a sealed paperback.
All right. Now, when you were looking at the soil samples in this particular case, you didn't find biological material such as deer bones or anything like that at the Bundy location, did you?
I found some biological material, as I testified. Hair, that's I consider as a biological material. I did not look for deer bone.
Okay. Now, you were also asked some questions about your
I always
laboratory in
look for deer
general and
bone
the
in
people
my
that work for you and
evidence,
such.
always.
The environment in which you're working as a forensic
Sloppy
scientist.
work,
I wanted to
sir.
ask you a couple questions there, if I may.
Yes.
Do you agree, sir, that one of the practical realities that criminalists face who are working for law enforcement is budgetary problems and monetary shortfalls?
Yes.
Okay. And is it true that even recently, after you got into your new laboratory, you had to lay off some people due to some financial difficulties in the state?
After we moved, no, that's not correct.
Was that slightly
Before,
before?
a couple of years ago, we have to lay off some people. After we moved to the laboratory, we have some vacant positions. And with the assistant of governor and legislator, we was able to fill this position.
So would you agree, sir, that generally speaking, forensic resources are scarce in the sense that we can't do all the testing and all the study in every case that we'd like to do?
That's absolutely correct. Of course, if you have the support of the leadership, for example, I have a good boss. My commissioner very supportive to forensic science, so we try to do what supposed to do. Of course, impossible to do every possible test in this earth for a certain case.
Okay. So in theory, there are theories about the ideal in terms of crime scene processing and handling a case that are stated in the textbooks. Is that correct?
Handling crime scene and laboratory tests, that's two separate things. Handling crime scene, you don't need sophisticated instruments such as SEM or mass spectrograph. Or handling crime scene, basically, it's training and experience and some mechanic issues.
Well, let me give a concrete example. We talked about using videotapes at
Yes.
crime scenes. And ideally, that would be a good idea if we could use that at every crime
Yes, sir.
scene. But based upon your experience, not only at your own lab, but traveling around the country as you do into other countries, is it correct to say that even in very serious crimes, videotape is not now currently being used as a standard technique in crime scene identification, crime scene investigation?
It's difficult to, most of the crime scene involve homicide. Usually we suggest use videotaping, and most of the cases I see videotape when they submit to me. But once in a while, cases without videotaping.
Okay, and that's because we don't have the resources necessarily to do all the videotaping we'd like to do. Is that correct?
That's a judgment call. If you want to find a videotape, you always can find a camcorder. Whether or not the department has that, I don't know. I cannot come here to tell you what the LAPD budget looks like.
Okay. Now, does financial difficulty also play a little bit of a role in terms of testing at the laboratory and the amount of testing that you do and the like?
Yes, that's an excellent question. We usually have to determine what type of test to do first, second,
not
third.
an
So
excellent question,
non-destructive
sir.
tests, basically
You know what
visual
an
examination.
excellent question would be for you right now, sir? Did O.J. Simpson commit these murders? That would be an excellent freaking question.
Microscopic examination, that don't cost any money. Then the rest of tests, some are more sophisticated, them cost money. You have to make a judgment call.
And you had to face a lot of problems along these lines over the years in your laboratory. For example, in the old facility, is it true that when you would use the electrophoresis machines, the air conditioning would shut down?
Yes.
All right.
I think that this line is going to be irrelevant.
All right. Let's move on.
I'm almost finished, Sharon. I just have a couple more questions. And for example, in the DNA testing, you've used paper towels as blotters instead of the blotter paper.
Early days, we have to, my laboratory is a men's room, literally in a men's room.
Yeah.
So you have to do the best you can.
Yeah.
You can't just say, well, I'm in a men's room, I don't do any test.
Right. And the drying facilities up until quite recently for biological evidence was in the yard of the laboratory. Is that correct?
That's about 15 years ago. We don't have a drying room, so everything have to dry in the yard. Even now, sometimes I dry my clothes in the yard. Nothing wrong dry in the yard.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. No, not at all. And that was particularly true in the summer months, that some of the biological evidence we'd like to dry in the yard because it was smelly if we drew
Yes,
it.
the odor really
Right.
terrible. You don't want to have the whole laboratory evacuated.
Okay.
Sometimes the odor beyond a normal person can take.
And was the practice of drawing the biological evidence in the yard discontinued once when a dog absconded with the rape victim's panties?
Not really. There are numerous clothing. One of my analysts was assigned to guard those clothing. Somehow a wild dog took a piece of garment and ran away. And luckily that's just one piece of an undergarment. It's not all
Right.
decomposed.
Okay.
So since then we have to put 2 guards to watch in the clothing.
All right. And despite these kinds of problems and issues that we've been discussing generally this morning, Dr. Lee, would it be fair to say that you and your laboratory people in the area of DNA and conventional serology have still been doing a very high-quality work?
We try our best.
Yes. And these are little obstacles that have to be overcome.
Yes.
Is that true? Yes. Now, Dr. Lee, I'd like to turn to the shoe prints at Bundy. And let's try to divide our discussion up into 3 categories if we can. I want to talk about the shoe prints, or excuse me, the items that we cannot say are impressions at all for sure.
What I testify is imprint
Imprints,
evidence.
yes.
Imprint evidence.
Okay. Now, is one category, though, items where you can't even be sure that it is in fact an imprint? It could be an imprint, it might not be.
Well, imprint, it's different. It's a term we use to differentiate from impression. Impression is a 3-dimensional pattern. An imprint is a 2-dimensional pattern. What I testified the first day I was here to report to you is those 2-dimensional imprint pattern I observed on different areas.
All right. Now, what I'm asking you, though, Dr. Lee, is at the Bundy location and the evidence that came from the Bundy location.
Yes.
Were there certain instances where you saw something and it was your opinion, I can't tell whether that's an imprint or not?
Yes, sir. Some evidence I see a pattern because I examine a picture. When you examine a picture, you are examining something through photographer's camera lens. I wasn't there myself. If I see something, I can tell that's some kind of an imprint. As far as a shoe print or not, I don't know. I don't want to make an opinion on that.
All right. Well, let's see if we can get into some of the specifics here. Regarding Ron Goldman's jeans,
Yes.
with respect to some of the items on the jeans, was it your opinion, I see some parallel line imprint consistent with imprint?
Yes.
Okay. And by that, did you mean I'm not positive whether this is an imprint or not?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's an imprint. However, as a scientist, I usually report to you what I see. I did examine the blue jean, by the way. However, I don't know the blue jean. When somebody wear the blue jean, that's 3-dimensional setting.
Your Honor, I think he's answered the question.
Next question.
Okay. It will just make things a little
Sure.
faster. I'll give you the opportunities to explain. Dr. Lee, so with respect to some of the items on the blue jeans, it was a situation where you cannot state to a scientific certainty that they were, in fact, impressions at all. Is that true?
Items.
Sustained.
Well, as to the prints that you were talking about on the right portion of the lower leg.
That's vague. Right portion, lower leg.
On the right leg, lower portion, Dr. Lee.
There's a lot on the right.
Oh,
I see some patterns, parallel pattern, consistent with imprint.
Okay. And consistent with is a phrase that's used when we're not certain, is that right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, there was also a photograph that you were shown that depicted the caged off area, and we'll get to that in a little more detail later. But there was something that looked like a hole in that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And with regard to that hole, was it your view that you don't know whether it's an imprint or not? It could just be a hole.
I say that's an indentation. It's not an imprint. Definitely not a 2-dimensional thing. It's an indentation.
But in other words, it could be something that the dog or the gardener
I don't
took
know.
out. Okay. Now, were there also some items at the Bundy location where you were able to determine that it was an imprint, but you weren't sure that it was a shoe print?
Yes.
And with regard to that, would the envelope fit into that category?
Yes.
And could that be a fabric pattern on the envelope?
I compare some known fabric pattern. I cannot match that pattern.
And that was the jeans and the shirt?
Shirt, yes.
But is there any way of matching it to the fabric that the suspect was wearing?
I don't know what the suspect or suspects wear.
Okay. Now, what I'm asking you, Dr. Lee, is could it be some type of fabric pattern on the envelope?
It could be a parallel line. Any type of object have this same design,
Okay.
cause a replicate.
And are you familiar, sir, with the kinds of parallel lines that are sometimes on the cuffs of men's sweatsuits?
I don't know what kind of sweatsuit you refer to. If, say, a fabric design, you have a wave pattern, that couldn't be, just a parallel line. It's no other horizontal wave pattern I can see.
Okay, but if we have a parallel line, for example, on a cuff,
It may be.
maybe, yes. And this could be fabric of some type that imprinted the envelope. Is that
It's-
true?
It's difficult to, if you just look at the surface, it's a flat surface. Something has to have a certain force or flat. We say certain force applied onto have a very definitive line. Not something in a curvature surface. I did not see a curvature pattern. Neither I did not see any fabric design.
Okay, we'll get back to that a little later then. Now, Dr. Lee, with respect, well, did you form the opinion that that was a shoe print?
No, I said consistent could have made by a shoe.
Now, with respect to the prints on the Bundy walk,
Yes.
there were 2 parallel line prints that you saw on the walk, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And those were, in fact, shoe prints, correct?
In June 25th, yes, I did issue opinion. One definite is a shoe print.
Now, would it be fair to say, Dr. Lee, that the only items that you identified that you are certain that it is, 1, an imprint,
Yes.
and 2, a shoe print,
Yes.
are those 2 items on the Bundy walk?
Yes, sir.
And would it be correct to say that, in your opinion, you determined that they were in blood?
Yes.
And would you say, therefore, Dr. Lee, would it be fair to say that from a forensic science standpoint, by far the most important, compelling imprint evidence that you discovered would be those imprints?
All the imprint evidence is important. If you say shoe print, you're right. You're correct. That too is compelling. If say imprint, every imprint is equally important.
But the only ones that we're able to say are shoes are
Shoe.
the ones in the Bundy
Right.
walk.
That's
and there were
correct.
2 of those.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll come back to those a little bit later, but let's just move on to Bindle 47, which
Yes,
was
sir.
the one that had the transfer stains in it. You recall what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Now, is it your view, Dr. Lee, that often science cannot provide explanations for every phenomena that we see?
Yes. I spend my life in this. A lot of phenomena I still cannot explain and report to you.
And the way that you sometimes put that is that life is complex, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Now, does that mean that if you look at something and you can't explain it as a forensic scientist, that there's something wrong?
Yes, there's something wrong.
Okay, but isn't it often that you look at something and you can't explain it?
If everything right, I should be explainable. If something I cannot explain, I see something, I observe, for example, you mentioned 47, imprint. Doesn't matter what. You see a wet transfer,
Dude, that's
which means
awesome.
something wrong.
Congratulations.
I'm not asking you about that. We'll get back to that in a few seconds. But just in general, Dr. Lee, are there many occasions that you've had as a forensic scientist where you look at a case or a piece of evidence and you just don't have all the answers?
That's correct.
All right. And there's nothing surprising about that, is there?
Nothing surprising about it.
Now, if there is, in fact, a situation where a swatch is packaged when it's still damp in a bindle, and there's a transfer, is that situation going to cause the blood to change into someone else's blood?
That's a difficult question. If that's original bindle,
That's not a difficult
therefore
question.
should not change. If it's not the original bindle, then I'm going to change.
Okay, well, let me just give you a hypothetical so we're clear on what you're saying. Let's say that I'm a criminalist, and I take some swatches out of a drying cabinet in a test tube. I don't touch them to see whether they're dry,
Okay.
all right? But I think that they look dry. I'm looking through the test tube, and they look dry. And I dump them out into the bindle. Are you following me so far?
Yes, sir.
Now, by the way, is it okay from a forensic science standpoint that I did not take off my glove and touch the swatches with my hand to check to see whether they were dry?
Usually experienced
Well,
criminals.
I'm just asking you that question. Should I have done that?
Let him finish his answer.
Experienced criminals should know how long take it dry. Once it's downbounded on paper, you should see whether or not dry. To touch or not touch, the amateur does that. We don't do that.
It would be a very bad idea to actually take my glove off and touch it to make sure, wouldn't it?
Well, some people does that, but I don't do that.
And you wouldn't recommend doing that, would you?
I will not suggest people, you should make sure.
I do it
it's
every
dry,
day.
basically.
But
And I
not
run
with
with
your hands,
scissors.
Not your hand.
Now, Dr. Lee, let's say that I dumped it out into the bindle, and I just didn't wait long enough, okay? And I closed up the bindle, and there's a transfer in the bindle. Following me?
Yes.
Now, is that going to change the blood into someone else's blood?
In
Under my
theory,
hypothetical.
in theory, will not.
And that would be your forensic opinion?
Yes.
As an expert in conventional
theory,
and DNA technology?
It will
Yes,
not.
sir.
Right. Now, would it change the DNA pattern of the evidence?
Sometimes it will change the pattern, make it unreadable.
Okay. It might cause more degradation.
Yes, sir.
Right. But if we were able to test that, for example, and get a 5-probe match, would that,
I think this is now irrelevant hypothetical, no foundation.
And if we were able to get a
it's
five-probe
not.
match, would the packaging procedure have caused that five-probe match to have occurred erroneously?
In theory, not.
And that is your opinion?
Yes.
Strikingly states the evidence on the item in question.
Well, and we're just trying to get...
Cannot make a determination. Now you have a effect.
Okay, so in other words, you might get an inconclusive result or no result as a result of degradation?
Yes.
All right. For... Now, I'd like to show you the exhibit that's been marked as Defense 1362 for identification. If we could put that up. It's the large swatch blow-up.
All right, 1386, can you see this? 165, can you see this? Yes, sir. All right, thank you. Mr. Goldberg.
You forgot to ask juror number
Now,
7.
Dr. Lee, would it be correct to say that the four transfers that you saw on this item, item 47, were in fact relatively light?
Relative?
Light.
No, that's not, say, relative light. I saw lighter than those kind of transfer. In my opinion, this transfer sort of consider some are pretty defined and heavy. Other maybe classified lighter.
So that we're clear, though, Dr. Lee, this is the interior of the bindle, so that if I unfolded it, this is the inside. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you see any evidence of blood on the outside of the bindle?
I did not see that.
All right. Now, Dr. Lee, if we had a situation where I was working with a reference file standing approximately where I am right now, and this bindle were sealed closed in a coin envelope that was taped shut and sitting on the little podium in front of you, and I'm working with the reference file, you wouldn't expect that to account for these transfers, would you?
If the envelope seal with tape put in the envelope, in theory, should not get to the envelope.
It would be very difficult to imagine that happening, correct?
Very, very difficult.
Okay. Now, Dr. Lee, we use the term here wet and dry in connection with discussing Exhibit 1362, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And from a forensic science standpoint, as a forensic scientist, is there a little bit of an ambiguity when we're talking about the words wet and dry in relationship to blood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that because the threshold between wet and dry is somewhat fuzzy?
Wet and dry, that's not fuzzy at all.
Okay.
Either wet or dry, but they are in between damp. Not say soaking wet. What the wet definition of the wet? You kind of get into a semantic issue. As a scientist, if I swatch dry, it's dry. If it's not dry, anything else, I call it wet.
All right. What I want, I'll come back to that in just a second. But, Doctor, can you tell us, when a swatch is dry, in the sense that it looks dry, and if I felt it, it would feel dry,
Yes, sir.
how much water does it have in it?
I have no idea how much water.
But it does have water in it?
I don't know.
Well, Doctor, I just want to ask you a little bit about the book that you participated in, Forensic Science Handbook, Richard Saperstein. You're very familiar with this, is that correct?
Sort of.
Okay. This is one of the references that you talked about when you were talking about the 20 books.
Yes.
Okay. And, sir, would you agree with the proposition that the
Check whatever you're...
Yeah, I'm going to I'm looking at page 385. Oh, you guys.
All right, Mr. Goldberg.
Sir, do you agree with the proposition that the threshold between wet and dry is somewhat fuzzy? Most apparently dry material does in fact contain some water. Proteins, for example, bind water very tenaciously.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. And do you agree that the water content of dried materials is in equilibrium with the fractional saturation of water vapor in the surrounding atmosphere? That is the relative humidity. Thus, for example, blood dried to an equilibrium in air at 25% relative humidity may contain about 5% of its total weight in water.
May, yes.
And, sir, what would the amount of water be if swatches were dried at 50% relative humidity?
I don't know how to calculate at this moment. May contain some water.
Okay, well, would you agree that it would contain as much as 10% of its weight in water?
Maybe.
And if the swatches were dried at 75% relative humidity, what would the percentage of water be in the swatches?
I have no idea.
Would 20% sound reasonable to you?
Reasonable.
Okay. Did you happen to go back and check the Saperstein reference book before testifying here about the swatches in this case?
No.
Okay. So there would be a number of facts that we'd have to know, such as relative humidity, in order to figure out how much water the swatches in this case had after they looked dry.
But it doesn't matter. There are 7 swatches.
Well, I'm just asking you that.
If it's dry,
Wait, you finish your answer.
thank you.
Kevin.
If dry, should be all dry. If, say, some contains 20% of water, 7 all should contain 20% water.
Motion to strike.
Hold on.
Would we have to know the relative humidity to know how much water was in the swatches?
That's
Doctor?
why I say I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea what the percentage.
Well, can you explain for us in a little bit more detail the relationship between relative humidity and amount of water that's in a dried swatch?
I guess the best person have to explain that is whoever wrote that chapter. I did not read that. I want to see it. Is that my writing? Then I have to explain. If it's not my writing, I don't have to explain.
Actually, I think it's in Mr. Sensabaugh's
Okay,
chapter.
let George examine that. Explain that. That's not my problem.
Okay, would you like to take a look at this?
No, if that's not my writing, I don't have to explain anything.
Okay.
Because very difficult for you to determine in a swatch how many percent of the humidity. If he come up with that number, I'm not going to argue with George. He is the one I have to explain.
Okay, but the bottom line is that after something's dry, it still does have some water in it.
Yes, I
correct?
agree.
All right. Now, Doctor, would you also agree that there are a lot of variables in determining how long something will take to dry?
Yes, sir.
And have you looked at the Labor and Epstein materials that they put together in connection with a McDonald's book dealing with experiments in blood spatter analysis?
A long time ago, I did read some their material.
Okay.
Excellent material.
All right. And, sir, do you agree with the proposition that the amount of time required for a blood stain... Well, I'm actually reading it out of my notes.
Proceed. Your Honor, yes, it does. Proceed.
At any rate, for the record, we've handed him a copy of Labor and Epstein.
Can I see what it is he's reading?
He said he's reading his notes. He can ask questions as he chooses. Proceed.
Your Honor,
Proceed.
Sir, do you agree with the proposition that the amount of time required for a blood stain to dry is dependent upon various factors such as weather conditions, temperature, air movement, humidity, size and depth of stain or blood pool, and the nature of the surface upon which the blood is shed?
Yes.
All right. And do you also agree that it's very difficult to predict all of the factors that go into determining how long something is going to take to dry?
Not necessarily.
Well, let me just ask you this, sir.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize what happened today, guys.
Do you agree that there are so many combinations of factors that exist that affect the time required for blood to dry that it would be impossible?
We just started August 28th today. Today we started August 28th. We got through 10 minutes of August 28th. Now we have a 2-hour video, a 2-hour video, a 1-hour video of August 28th. But then we rerun that at 1.25 speed. Oh my gosh. We're so close to getting completely offended.
To make determinations in every situation how long it's going to take.
If you look at the crime scene, blood stain, that's agreed wholeheartedly, totally, because are beyond our control. Weather, rain, sunlight, shade, concrete versus carpet. If you're talking about a swatch, That's a totally separate situation.
Sir, according to your recollections of the Labor and Epstein materials, didn't they do a number of drying experiments of a single drop of blood on cotton to show that there were extremely wide ranges
Object to
of
this,
how
Your
long?
Honor, unless he is able to be shown the material and looked at it for whether he relies on it and what it is. I thought those were our procedures.
No, he doesn't have to see it. It has to be exhibited to counsel. That's what's going to be used.
that I haven't seen.
Do you have
I
that?
think he has the whole,
I don't
I
know.
think he has all Labor and Epstein.
Your Honor, he just handed me this as he's asking questions.
Your Honor, I
I'd like
object to
that
this
20
witness.
Proceed. Have a seat, Mr. Scheck. Proceed.
I'm sorry, I'm
I
sorry,
answer the
Doctor.
question now?
Yes, you may answer the question if you remember it.
Well, in contrast, I think they come up some tables, give some general guideline. For example, single drop on cotton, if I remember correctly, it's about 5 minutes or something, or 45 minutes, something like that. I don't remember exactly. I read a long time ago. They have a table published in their, I think, the appendix back of the book, give more or less specific time.
And we made it. Christmas OJ is over. All right, guys. Take a little break, rest, relax, rehydrate. I'll see you in a couple hours. Or not. Go spend Christmas with your family. Go do something fun. Do something for you today. Not just for everybody else. And if you come with me later, I'll see you. If not, have a great day. Thank you so much for coming out today. I appreciate it. Bye, guys.